From Threezero and their Transformers MDLX line, this is Cliffjumper. Now, Cliff, from what I can best tell, is a slight retool of the Bumblebee, but I still love it because, well, I kind of have a Cliffjumper semi-love. I don't really know how to describe Cliff. He's not one of my absolute favorites, but he's a guy whose toys I'm always kind of excited for. That goes all the way back to the 2007 days, baby. And the box looks very, very nice. I do like how detailed these figures are. For anyone who doesn't know, Threezero, their whole thing right now is they are doing good kind of Marvel Legends-esque scale, non-transforming Transformer figures, but they are sculpted and painted to the nth degree. They are some of the best figures on the market right now, and I'm wanting to check out Cliff next. I showed this in the Optimus video. I'm going to show it in the Cliffjumper video as well. Cliff is not does not cost as much money as the Optimus does, but I still just want to show off how they're packaged. So you can see you have a tray, you have all your hands and head down here, gun, some little pamphlets to explain how the figure works, and the figure itself is in this very nice saran wrap. Nowhere near as much stuff as Optimus had, nowhere near as much stuff as Starscream is going to have, but still, they took care with actually packaging this figure. Getting Cliffjumper out of the box, and this is just an absolutely striking figure. I really like how he came out here. The colors look so good throughout, and here's the thing, right? The Bumblebee from this line, I always thought looked just a bit drab. I'm going to pull him in here. Bumblebee, at least the original version, was all yellow. They eventually did an animation version that had the grays and blacks that you'd expect from G1 Bumblebee incorporated into the design, but as much as I like this figure, it's just an ocean of that one color. Whereas here with Cliffjumper, not only are the silver lines in the legs that are actually the same from Bumblebee a little bit more pronounced, but you also have the black of the shoulders, you have gray forearms, gray thighs, just an overall much better looking figure, which, in all honesty, that's kind of a running thing with Cliffjumper. The Bumblebee figure comes out first, is really nice, and then the Cliffjumper figure comes out second and just looks a little bit more poppy. Taking a closer look at the figure, and I really like this head sculpt. It looks just absolutely perfect. And I actually thought it was going to be the Bumblebee head sculpt again, but pulling Bumblebee in again. No, that's completely different. They gave Cliff his own proper head sculpt that has his more traditional bull-style horns. His chin is a little bit more pointed, his face a little bit more round. I like the Cliffjumper head sculpt very much. In all honesty, I like the alternate head a lot as well, this toy-accurate head. I don't know which one I'm going to go with in terms of display, because I like that head, but this is just a little bit more, I don't know, cool looking. Like the old G1 Bumblebee and Cliffjumper head sculpt always has had like a really nice Soundwave-esque feel to it. I get why it hasn't been their popular head sculpt, but hey, it's an option, isn't it? Now to talk about articulation. Now, paint and sculpt on this figure are incredible, but you look at the articulation, this is where it absolutely comes together. So you have a ball joint at the head and a ball joint at the throat. So you have two ball joints working in unison with each other here. The shoulder pads actually move out of the way, so you can make full use of a universal at this hinge where the shoulder meets the torso, and a second universal where the shoulder meets the arm. So you have two universals working for the shoulder, an upper arm cut, a not double jointed but still deep single elbow, universal down here at the hand, and then you have a ab crunch, go forward back just a bit, and side to side with the good diaphragm joint. Here on Cliffjumper as well as Bumblebee, you have a very weird articulation cut, so the pelvis armor can be moved out of the way slightly here. Let me try to get it. Oop. He's actually a little bit stiffer here than Bumblebee is, but you can see the armor comes out of the way. That lets you make full use of the universal hip at the hip, and then you can kind of put the armor back in place once you're posed. You have a good double jointed knee, look at that, and then massive rocker down here for the ankle. And by the way, the wheel and the foot spins. I don't know why you need that, but it does spin. I love this figure. I really do. Not only does it look great, not only does it feel great, because it does feel great. You have die cast down here in the feet and good hardy plastic, but it also poses like a champ. We also have a good few accessories with Cliffjumper. So we get the gun that we had with Bumblebee. looks fine. Not a big fan of the gun, but you know, it looks nice and it's painted very well. Love the gunmetal. We already talked about the alternate head, which looks great. And then we get some alternate hands. So we have the 2 closed fists. We also have these 2 hands meant for holding the gun. And 2 hands that are kind of more gestural open. So it gives you a few options if you want to switch these things out. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this thing is super fragile. Here, let me zoom out just a bit. Boop. It's not like this thing is going to fall apart at a moment's notice. But still, it's an expensive figure, so be careful. We're going to just slowly try to get the head out of there. There we go. Now, the neck came with it. That is not what I wanted to happen. So now I'm going to try to get the neck out. Okay. This is going really well. Let me try to get the neck back in. And let me try again just to get the head. No, the neck is stuck to the head. Okay. There's ways to work with that. I'm just trying to think, like, what's the best way to try to get this head sculpt off right now? Let me get it back on there. I'm trying to pull from underneath the chin. Yeah, that neck is going to keep going before the head does. So that can be solved with hair dryer, warm water. It doesn't really matter, but it's worth noting it's going to be pretty stiff, or at least it is on my copy. And now let's try with the hands. So we pop the hand off. Alright, that went pretty well. And let's put this more gestural hand on. There we go. Okay. The hands feel a lot better than the head does. That does kind of bother me because that was also an issue I had with my Bumblebee. I don't know if that's going to be an issue with every figure on the line. It's possible that's just this mold, but be aware, if you're more in love with the toy head, you might have to wrestle with that neck joint. Just doing that, I'm going to try with a hairdryer later on, but it's kind of turned me off of trying to switch heads around, you know what I mean? I'll be honest about Cliffjumper. I like this figure. It doesn't have the newness of the Bumblebee. It doesn't have the sheer otherworldly, like this is a game changer feel that the Optimus has. It's a very good figure that is one of the cheapest options when you come to getting into this line. Him and Bumblebee both go for anywhere from 60 to about 70 bucks. And alongside that, I think it is worth mentioning that even though the heads are different, there is still a lot of reuse from Bumblebee. So unless you just absolutely love both these characters, this might be a good time to consider an either-or approach. Alongside that, keep in mind these figures aren't massive. Here's a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, you can see Spider-Man towers over both these figures. Keep in mind that Optimus, which is from the same line, absolutely dwarfs Spider-Man, but still, these are smaller figures. They're pretty similar. They are pretty expensive when it comes to Transformers. I know that they're not as insane as Masterpiece prices, but even still, keep that in mind. But what you're getting are figures that are insanely detailed and painted and articulated. Some of the best play experience and posing experiences I've had with figures in a very, very long time. That's what this line can offer. That's what this Cliffjumper can offer. And I would personally suggest Cliffjumper over Bumblebee just because I think he looks better. And if you're in the Skybound issues right now, Cliff is part of the team, not Bumblebee. Here are my Threezero Autobots so far, and I just adore them. I need to get the Rodimus from this line. I can't wait to get Sideswipe, and I'm excited to see what other characters they're going to do. I've said it before, Ratchet and RC, they're up there for me. In all honesty, I'd like to see them maybe tackle a character like Springer or Grimlock, maybe even Beast Wars characters, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm just saying, a Dinobot or an Optimus Primal in this style would actually be pretty cool. But for right now, I'm really happy with this trio, and I can't wait to see how it expands from here. So, whereas Optimus was a wholehearted, this is one of the best figures ever, Cliff is still a pretty solid one. Sure, he's a little bit smaller, a little bit less of a major recommend, but still a very good figure in his own right.